and the respect that we have been given today here. As you can see, my sisters and brothers and the citizens of this nation, we want to extend that respect to the media and to the nation. What we have agreed here, I can confirm. The CS Mbadi and CS Murkomen are seated here, Wandai. I'm sorry for that. And our able governor.
Ladies and gentlemen, a cabinet secretary stood at a government podium and told Kenyans live on camera that an agreement had been reached unanimously. The people sitting in that exact room.
I don't have the time. With all due respect, and the respect that we have been given today here, as you can see, my sisters and brothers and the citizens of this nation, we want to extend that respect to the media and to the nation. What we have agreed here, I can confirm. The CS Mbadi and CS Murkomen are seated here, Wandai. I'm sorry for that. And our able governor, that the strike has been suspended. That is what I want our Kenyan citizen to hear. And since we have a nation to build and a government to run, Kenya is ours. So therefore, on behalf of our transport stakeholder, our partner and our corporate, on behalf of our TSV, I want to assure them that since we have suspended the strike, give room to negotiation, and if that does not, that we are not able to agree, we'll come back for the same. But for today, the nation should run. Thank you very much.
The same exact moment looked into the same cameras and said, "We agreed to nothing." One of them is lying. And while they argue about who said what, Kenyans are still left in the dark. On May 18, 2026, Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi convened a transport sector stakeholders at Transcom House in Nairobi to negotiate fuel prices amid an active transport strike. Wandayi declared publicly on cameras that a unanimous agreement had been reached with EPRA full involvement on bridging the diesel petrol price gap. Matatu sector representative present in the same room immediately and publicly rejected that claim on the same cameras. CS Wandayi stated at the session that the government planned to reduce diesel prices while increasing kerosene prices. He framed this as a measure to curb fuel adulteration caused by the large price gap between the two products. He said on record that EPRA was fully involved and that the position had been arrived at unanimously. Within minutes, transport sector representative contracted him directly on cameras, and at the same event, one representative stated that operators had proposed a price range of between 30 shilling and 35, a figure that did not match Wandayi's announcement. The same representative said clearly, "We did not agree on anything. That is what we want to go out to our members and the nation." The session ended with the planned strike confirmed as still on. By May 19, roads across Nairobi and multiple regions were paralyzed. Matatu buses and border riders were off the road. Commuters worked, school and businesses were disrupted. Under mounting pressure, the government eventually revised fuel prices. Diesel reduced by 10 bob per litre. Kerosene increased by 38 shillings. Super petrol remained unchanged. New prices: super petrol 214 shillings, diesel 232 and kerosene 191 effectively to June 14. The contradiction between what Wandayi said and what the transport representative said is not a matter of interpretation. Both position was stated clearly on record in the same room on the same day. What happened at the Transcom House on May 18th was not a miscommunication. A cabinet secretary told the nation live on cameras that a unanimous agreement existed. The people who were meant to be party to that agreement said in the same breath that it did not agree. One of those two positions is a deliberate falsehood delivered to the Kenyan public from a government podium. That matter beyond this fuel price dispute. It matters because if a cabinet secretary is willing to manufacture consensus on camera when the other party is sitting right next to them, close enough to respond immediately, what else has this government announced as settled that was never agreed at all? What other negotiation have been declared resolved while the other side is still waiting for a real offer? A government that cannot tell the truth in a room where the lie can be disapproved in real time has stopped governing. It is simply performing governance for the cameras. Kenya has watched this before. In 2023, during the finance bill crisis, government officials repeatedly announced stakeholders' consensus position that the same stakeholders publicly denied. Ministry representatives would emerge from meetings declaring that concerns had been addressed. Civic societies, organization and sector representative would also emerge from the same meetings saying the opposite side. That moment had changed and that the bill remained fundamentally harmful. The pattern is always the same. A minister calls a press conference, declare victory over a crisis, and the people who were supposed to validate that victory immediately say they were not consulted. It is crisis management that threatens design not to resolve a problem, but to be seen attempting to resolve it long enough to absorb the news, circle and buy political time. The difference at the Transcom House on May 18 is that the contradiction happened in real time in the same room before Wandanyi had even finished speaking. The government's narrative collapsed before it could fully formed. That is not a communication failure. That is what happened when a government has run out of real solution and has nothing left but the performance of solutions. While Wandanyi and the transport representatives were contradicting each other on cameras, Kenyans were making their own calculation. A worker in Nairobi who used to spend 100 shilling getting to office is now spending 150 or walk the entire full distance. A mama mboga whose vegetables arrived by matatu is watching her profit margin disappear before her market stall even opens. A boda boda writer is sitting at the bump calculating whether today's rides will cover fuel, loan repayment and his children food, and in which order those three things get paid. A small trader in Nakuru who depends on freight deliveries watched as stock ran low because the truck were not moving. A student who had an exam on May 19 ran the full distance to school because there was no other way. None of these people were in that room at Transcom House. None of them set the fuel price. All of them are paying for what was said and what was lied about inside that room. What is truly at stake here is the most basic function of a government. The government inability to negotiate in good faith and communicate truthfully with people it governs. Wandanyi holds the regulatory and policy authority over Kenya's entire energy and fuel sector. He controls the framework that every matatu operator, every truck driver, every household, every small business depends on. That authority was used on May 18th not to resolve a crisis but to announce the resolution of one that had not occurred. The transport operators were not deceived. They were present. They corrected the record immediately. The people who were deceived were ordinary Kenyans, me and you, watching from their phones, from their TVs, who had unanimous agreement and thought the roads would open tomorrow, and woke up on 19 today to find them still empty. The credibility of every government announcement in this fuel crisis is now damaged, and the damaged credibility is a negotiation does not slow things down. It makes resolution harder because nobody at the table on either side can afford to be seen agreeing with a government that has already lied about what was agreed.